And we can put our band around our thighs to start off with. Just tie it up in a little bit of a bow. And then we take a lie down on our backs. And just separate your legs so that your legs are in a parallel position, feet are in parallel. The distance that they are apart from each other is going to depend on how tight you've tied your band. You just want a little tiny bit of pressure out into the band. And then we're going to maintain that slight tension into the band as we go into our pelvic curls, rolling our spines up away from the floor, taking a breath in at the top, and then rolling our spine back down, one bone at a time. And away we go again, just pulling out gently into your band. And just roll your spines up, press into the mat as you take a breath in, and then rolling your spine back down. And we'll go again, rolling up. Really concentrating on what your feet are doing. See if you can press your feet into the floor any more than what you're already doing. And again, rolling and pressing up. Press your feet down. Keep stamping your feet down into the floor as you roll your spine down. We'll take two more. So rolling up. Hold at the top. And rolling down. And on this next one, we're going to roll up. Hold our hips up high in the air and then press out into the band. So press out and release. Press out and release. Out and release. Out and release. Keep going with that. Out and out and out. And then bring your legs back into that parallel position. Roll your spine back down to the floor. And let's take a little rest. We'll bring our hands behind our head. Rest for our legs anyway. Hands behind our head. Just supporting the back of your skull to rest heavy in the hammock that your hands make. Again, that gentle pulling out into the band. So just a slight amount of tension. And then curling your head and shoulders up off the floor into your chest lift. Breathing in as you lower back down. So as we come up, we're sinking our tummy, gliding our ribs towards our hips, curl our head and shoulders off the mat, and then returning to the floor. And again, it's an exhale to come up, and inhale to lower. And once more, see if you can get the tip of your shoulder blades just to hover off the floor. Let's try a few more like that. So come up and then try and come a little higher. And lower down. And again up. And lower down. This time we're going to come up into our chest lift. We're going to that beautiful combination that targets our low abs. So pull out into the band with one leg, opening out to the side. Draw it back in. Open the other leg out to the side. Draw it back in. Float one foot just off the floor a little tiny bit. And lower. Lift the other foot off the floor just a tiny bit. And lower. And then lower your head and shoulders to the mat. Take a big breath in. Then as we breathe out, we curl our head and shoulders off the floor. One leg opens out into the band. And draw back in. Open the other leg out and draw back in. Float one foot off the floor just a tiny bit and down, and then the other foot lifts and down, and take a rest. You're going to do two more sets like that. Let me check it out. So come into your chest lift. Open one leg out to the side. Draw it in. Other leg opens. Draw it back in. Tiny foot floats and down, Other side, tiny foot float and down, and then rest your head and shoulders. And last one, chest lift up, and open out to the side with one leg, and in, other leg opens, and in, tiny foot float, and down, and other foot floats, and down. Excellent. Just take a moment. Good job. I've just got this iPad here so I can see you a little more easily now rather than in the screen. Okay. So next, we'll take our arms out to the side a little and then lift one leg up in the air, resisting the band, and then lower down. We'll lift our other leg up and lower, trying to keep your pelvis really quiet and still on the mat. And lift and lower. Lifting as you breathe in. Breathe out to go down. One more on each side. Okay, now let's make that our double leg lift. So we lift up, second leg comes up. Breathe in as you lower your first foot to the floor, and breathe out as your second foot goes down. Lift your first leg in the air. Float your second. Inhale as your first foot comes down, and exhale, second leg down. Switch the leg that's going first. Lift, lift, gently drawing your tummy away from your undies or your t-shirt, especially as the second leg moves each time. Lift, really sink to lift, lower, and sink down lower. One more with each leg having a turn going first. And last set. Okay. Then from there, we are going to take our legs up to a tabletop position. Have your hands a little bit away from your hips with your palms facing up. Because we have the band around our thighs, we're just going to gently pull our legs out. So your knees and feet are slightly apart and you've got a little bit of tension on the band. If that feels a little too much for your back, keep your thigh bones apart, but let your heels rest down. Okay, just to take a little pressure off. We've got that option. Then we're going to tip over onto one side of our pelvis. Supine spine twist, coming back to the center. The distance between your legs stays the same the whole time. So we tip over as we breathe in and breathe out to come back. Tip over, breathing in and breathe out, come back to the center. Tipping over and coming back. Now you can stay with that or you can add on. So we tip over. We're going to hold it here and stretch our bottom leg towards the floor just a little. Draw it up. Do that 2 more times. Bottom leg reaches to the floor and draw it up. Bottom leg down and draw up 1 more time. Bottom leg down and draw up and then come back to the center. And we tip over to the other side. Hold the top leg still. Bottom leg down and lift. And down and lift. 2 more times. Down and lift. And down and lift. Coming back to the center. Just hug your knees into your chest. Let your heels hang down heavy. Give your legs a little break for a second. All right. From here, we're going to take our legs back up to tabletop and think about the back of your thigh bone. We want to keep our pelvis still and then move the back of your thigh bone. Press it down into the band. Take your toe down towards the floor. It may or may not touch, doesn't matter. and lift back up. Other leg, press the back of your thigh bone into the band to lower towards the floor and lift. Trying to keep the angle at your knee joint the same the whole time through. So you're moving from your thigh bone rather than your foot. Down and up. That's looking good. And down and up. Taking it nice and slow. If you wanted to add a little extra something for your abs, you could take it in a chest lifted position, but that's entirely up to you. Down and up. Down and up. Let's take one more with each leg. We go down and lift. Down and lift. And then hug your knees in towards your chest. Okay. Now, from here, we're going to do a little double leg stretch. Now, you can do it with your head and shoulders down on the floor or curled up in your chest lift. So whichever you decide, we're going to reach our hands down by our sides. I'm going to keep my head down today. We breathe in to reach our arms and legs away from each other, and then breathe out, come back in. So keeping your legs together, first of all, breathe in to stretch, and breathe out, draw it in. Breathe in to stretch, and breathe out, come in. Now we can add on. So we'll stretch out long, open and close your legs slowly with control, and then draw it in. Stretch out long, open and close, then draw in. Stretch your arms and legs. Open and close and draw it in. Oh my God, I'm so unco. I was trying to do my arms and legs opening out to the side at the same time. You guys have got it much better than I do. Just the legs open and close into the band. Very nice. 2 more times. Good. And last one. That's good. I'm happy that you've got much better coordination than me. Okay, so just taking a second to recover there. Oh dear. And then we're going to curl our head and shoulders off the mat. You do have the option of having your head and shoulders down. Single leg stretch. So stretch out and draw in. And as your leg is pulling away from you, you're also drawing your bent knee into the band as well. So we're getting both legs working. And then a second to recover. Then reset your legs, come up into your chest lift if that's what you'd like to do. And then we do a similar thing. So we stretch the legs out. This time the legs reach out away from each other and draw in and together. So we shoot one long, draw one in, open away from center, come towards center and bring it in. Long, out, in, and in. Stretch long, open, close, draw in. Stretch long, open, draw in, close in. Last one, stretch, open, draw in, close in, and have a little rest. Okay. Now, we're going to undo our legs. So take your band off, and then we undo our pretty bow that we did. For some reason, that's too hard for me to do lying down. I have to sit up. Okay. Now, if you don't have the long band like this, if you've got the loop band, it's okay. You can still do it with the loop. But, well, just for comfort, If you've got the long band, we'll go like this. So we're going to take a stretch with our leg up towards the ceiling. And from there, I'm just trying to see where you all are. Okay. You're doing that hamstring stretch as much as you can. Try and relax your shoulders and your elbows down towards the floor. It's all happening here. Okay. See, nice and relaxed. That's me, totally. Now that we've found that hamstring stretch, I'm going to stretch our other leg out along the floor just to increase the stretch a little tiny bit. Make it feel a bit yummier. Okay. Release your leg down away from you a tiny bit, and then keeping both sides of your pelvis down on the floor, we're going to take our leg across the midline of our body. Just enjoying that stretch through the outer part of your leg and glutes. And then coming back to the center, we take our leg out the other way, so away from the midline of our body, but also lifting your leg up towards you as well. So if you had someone lying next to you, you're trying to get them to smell your toes. Yeah, really opening out through your inner thighs, staying grounded through the opposite side of your pelvis. Good, then coming back in. Now, if you've got only the loop band, just pop it down for now. And we're going into our leg circles. But if you have the big Theraband, you can use the band like a kite to help steer your leg around. So we use it to get a little traction through our hip joint. First of all, setting up so that you feel all the weight of your pelvis down heavy into the floor. And then without losing any of that, stretching your foot up into the band. And then steering your leg around with the band, going into as big a circle as you can, keeping your pelvis really still on the mat. Just enjoying this lovely hip massage. Your other leg is anchored firmly down into the floor. All right, now let's go back the other way. Circle around and around. I have to say, leg circles with the band are my favorite way to do leg circles. Feel so nice. Good. One more time. Okay, then stop at the top. We bend our knee a little. Push your heel up to the ceiling. Draw your toes down towards your face for your calf stretch. And then we're going to switch over to the other leg. So placing your foot in, relaxing your head and shoulders, shoulders and elbows down to the floor. Stretching your foot up towards the ceiling, keeping your tailbone anchored heavy onto the mat. So if that means you've got to drop your leg away from you a little, please do that. Okay, finding that stretch through the back of your thigh into your hamstrings. And then, once you've found the stretch, we stretch our other leg out long on the floor just to increase it a little. Okay, Drop your foot away from you a little bit to bring your leg across the body, keeping your pelvis heavy on the floor. So it's like the sit bone of this leg is reaching back into the floor while your foot is reaching out in opposition. So your leg is as long as it can be. And that's how we achieve that beautiful stretch. Coming back to the center, then out to the other side, drawing your leg up as well so that you really get that nice stretch down through your inner thighs. Oops. Try not to open Stephen's cupboard so everyone can see. Okay, and then drawing back to the center. We go into our leg circles now. So steering your leg around like a kite, constantly pushing your foot into the band and pulling your pelvis down into the floor. And then going back in the other direction. Okay. Bring that leg back up to the ceiling, soften your knee, push your heel up and bring your toes down into your calf stretch. Okay, and then releasing your leg out of the band. Working our way back up the body, we will take our band over the top of our shins. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you can do this with a loop band as well. It's just going to be a little tighter. So I'm going to put, for the loop band, put your hands in each end. We'll curl our head and shoulders up and just see how you go. If not, do it without. With the long band, we curl our head and shoulders off the mat and then pull down against the band. So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. If it gets too much for your head and your neck, you can bring them down and still work your abs and your arms. Breathe in, out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. 2 more times. Out and in and out. And then hug your knees in. How was that? Oh, forgot something with my feet in the band. That's okay, we can go back to it. So, putting your feet into the band. This one won't work with the loop band, so just do it without. Otherwise, we've got our feet in a frog position and our knees are apart. If I spin around, you'll be able to see this way. Okay. So feet and knees are apart. Anchor your elbows down into the floor. We press our legs away and draw them in. You're trying to maintain that turned out position right from the top of your thigh all the way down your leg as you extend and bend press and in. Press and in. Now, if you're doing this without the band, maybe you want to shoot your legs up a little closer to the ceiling to make it a bit easier. But it looks like everyone's got a good option. Okay. All right. So then, let's press our legs out to long. You're going to bring them into parallel. Keep your knees straight and then open out into your band. And try and control it back in without too much bouncing happening. So opening out and drawing in. Nice and long through your knees. Press it open and in. 2 more times. Open, right, Virginia? And in. I can't hear you, you're on mute. Are you okay? She's gone. Or am I gone? You still with us? Everyone's still going except for her? No? You can stop whenever you need to. Okay. Did I disappear there for a minute? No. No? All good? Okay then. So, we just did our open and close with our legs. Then we go into, still with your feet in the band, either parallel or turn out, whichever you prefer. And we lower our legs down, press your feet out into the band, scoop your tummy up in opposition, and then lift up. So pressing down, back on the thigh bone, feet actively pressing into the band, and lift. Really trying to get your glutes and hammies to hold the legs in the air for you in support of your abdomen. Press and lift. 2 more times. Down. And again. Down. And up. Okay. Now, we're going to double our band over. Fold it in half lengthways. Okay. And then press your band into the front of your thighs here. Arms are straight, shoulders glide down away from your ears. Then we hold our arms steady. Draw your tailbone up off the floor and release. Scooping your tummy in. So just a reverse curl here with the added resistance of the band. Drawing in and controlling it down. And draw in. Control down. Okay. Then lower your feet down to the floor. We'll work our lats a little bit. So we hold our band in our hands. If I go a little on the diagonal, it might be easier for you to see. Okay. So holding one arm still. Both arms are anchored nicely down into the floor. Palms facing your feet. We pull down one arm to the hip and draw back up. Same arm. Really reaching with your little finger more than any other to help you engage those muscles under your scapula. So lats, a little bit of triceps. And 2 more times. Last one. All right. And switching sides. So really anchor, pull down, and lift. And down, and lift. That's it. Good job. 2 more times. And lift. Down, and lift. Okay. Then we'll take the band so that it's right across our chest, wrists directly above your shoulders, but take a little bit of slack in the band in the middle, okay? So then we can pull out, bringing the band down towards our chest and then controlling it back in without losing contact between the back of our shoulders and the mat. So pulling out and controlling in, pulling out and controlling in. Now just take a look at your wrist. You want your wrist to stay straight in a nice straight line. We don't want any snapping of our wrists outwards. We want the knuckle to shoulder to stay in a nice straight line as your arm moves. Okay, just 2 more of these. Open and draw in and open and draw in. Okay, then we're moving on up. Shoulders, yes. We're going to roll over onto our side. If you want to have a cushion underneath your head, you can do that. Actually, I suggest you do because we're going to use our bottom arm to anchor one end of our band. So we have our head supported. Bottom arm is out long, and I'm holding the band in that hand down on the floor. Okay. We go to other arm up a little so that both arms are almost stacked on top of each other. Knees are bent. We're going to go into our chest opener, but take the band with us. We're not allowed to press the band onto our chest. It's going to hover just off, but try and stretch each end of the band away from each other and then control back to the front. So we lift up, stretch the band, twisting your upper body with it, go behind and come through. So lifting up, twisting back. Don't let the band touch your chest. And roll forward. We'll do 2 more. Lift up and stretch. Last one. Lift and roll back and stretch. And there we go. Okay, just drop the band down. We're going to just take another nice little shoulder and chest release. So take your hand onto the floor, circle your arm up overhead, keep your fingertips on the floor as much as possible through the whole circle, and we retrace that circle. So we go up overhead, circle around and down, up and circle around and down. And again. And the last one. Okay, we're going to flip over and do the other side. Okay, are you all there? You're all there, but you're not here. Okay. So setting up bottom arm out long. We've got a nice little bit of stretch in the band. So we lift it up, roll backwards and hover the band just off your chest. See if you can stretch it a little further. And then return to the front. So we come up and roll back, hover and return. That's it. Good. Lift, roll, stretch the band as long as you can make it. And come back. And again, we lift, roll. 2 more times. And the last one. Okay, then dropping your band and going into your arm circles. So fingertips on the floor, circle your arm around as much as possible on the floor, and then bringing it around past your hip. Just doing 2 more of those. Circling around. And last one. Okay. Then I'm going to jump up and check. Everyone, yep, everyone's still there. Good-o. Okay. So we are going to do a little bit of arm stuff. So sitting with your feet in the band and your legs out long. If it's uncomfortable for you to sit with your legs straight out in front of you, prop yourself up on that cushion that we just had. Okay. And the other option is to have a little bend in your knees as well. All right. So we've got hold of the band, sitting up nice and tall. Just going to take a simple row. So starting with your palms facing down, we row our elbows back against our ribs and turn your palms to face up. And then releasing forwards, palms go down. So we row backwards, palms turn up, sitting up nice and tall, and then rowing forwards, returning your palms. That's it. Row and return. As you're pulling your elbows backwards, give your shoulder blades a little squeeze. Get them to try and hug your spine. And then feel them go a little bit wide as you return your arms forward. So scapula draw towards each other. And then they lengthen with your arms. Good. Okay. We're going to add a little rotation to that. So one arm will stay still. The other arm does exactly the same thing, and we allow our ribs to turn with that arm pulling back and return to the front. Other arm rows backwards and we twist in that direction. And we come to the front. And we pull back and twist through our rib cage. And front. And the other one. Row and twist. And center. Row and twist. And center. Another one. Okay. Now, while we've got our feet here in our bands, you might want to remove the cushion from behind or from underneath your bottom and check that you're not going to roll your head into the corner of any walls. Sitting up nice and tall, you're going to take a roll down. So using the resistance of the band to pull your tummy back against as you roll down, bone by bone, and then rolling up. Once again, your tummy is pulling back, almost like you're hanging back off the band. to allow yourself to roll back up to sitting. Okay, so nice and tall, and then scoop and roll away from your band, pressing your feet away into the band as you roll back, and then rolling up, still pressing your feet away, using the band to hang off, getting that nice big scoop into your tummy, sitting tall at the top, and again, we scoop and roll back. Shoulders are just relaxed. And rolling up, press your feet into the band. Use it to help you come up nice and smoothly. Let's do 2 more. Roll it down. And roll up. Okay, very nice. Next up, we're going to release the band from around our feet. If you need to sit back up on your cushion, you can do that now. You take the band around the back of our rib cage, and it comes through to the front underneath our arms. Okay, you can sit however you're comfortable for this one. This one is called cut a tree. I'm sure we've talked about this one before. Why is it called that? Nobody knows. Okay, so palms are facing in towards each other. We're going to stretch our arms forward. Take the band out to the side, maybe a little further, so that you can feel a stretch through your chest. And then bring the band forward again, and elbows row back to your elbows. Elbows row back to your ribs. Oh my goodness, I should have had dinner before this. I think my blood sugar must be a bit low today. Okay, so we stretch forwards. Open out. Feel the stretch through your chest. Bring it to the front, keeping your chest open. Row your elbows to your ribs. Yes. And press forward. Open out. Draw in and return. Forward. Open. In and rest. 2 more. Stretch. Open. Forward and in. And last one. Open. Forward and in. Okay, we got through that. Next, we're going to take, now I've warmed up, I'm going to take my jumper off. And then we sit on one end of our band, right underneath our sit bone. Comes underneath us here. And then the rest of the band goes up the back of your spine and over the top of your head. Now, this is the hot date one. If you have a hot date after this, don't do this one because it's going to wreck your hairdo. Okay? I'll just come off the cushion so you can see a little tiny bit better. All right. You're going to hold your elbow forwards and up towards the ceiling. And then your humerus, your top arm bone, is not going to move. So what did mine do? It moved. All right. It's anchored and still. And then extend your arm up towards the ceiling, and you can see my hairdo's wrecked now. And then bend. So the band is sliding up the back of your head, working into your triceps. Stretch your arm long, and then bend. So we press up, giving the back of your hair a nice tease, and down. Press up, and draw down. 2 more times. Ooh. And down. Last one. Up and down. Okay, change over to the other hand. Here we go. Ooh. Straighten and bend. And straighten and bend. Really feeling that work down the back of your arm. Straighten. Bend 2 more times. Okay, and then let's just zhuzh our hair. Enjoy that new body and volume that that's created. Okay. Alrighty. I'm going to take the band back around the back of our rib cage again. And this time, come into your quadruped. Golly, time goes fast when you're having fun. Quadruped position. So you have the band on the floor and then your hands on top of the band. So they're anchored in there. And if you can, the band is running across your shoulder blades, across your back. Okay. Then in your quadruped, we go for our scapular push-ups. So draw your scapula together. You've got to keep your elbows straight and then push the floor away. So scapula go wide on your back. So draw scapula together and then push the floor away. Draw them together. Push them away. And the shape of our spine is staying consistent throughout this. This isn't a cat and cow. This is just focused on moving and strengthening the muscles around our shoulders, particularly serratus muscles. Okay. Now we're going to try and do something a little bit tricky. So grab hold of the end of your band, just in your fingers. Okay. Still the same position, but you've just got a grip on that band. We push the floor away and then stretch one arm up in front of you and back down to the floor. Make sure that you're pushing away through the floor before you reach your arm forward and bring it down. So a little scapular push-up and then shoulder extension. A little scapular push-up, other arm extends long and down. So keep going with that. One of each. Okay. Then we're going to go scapular push-up. Extend our arm long. Travel it out to the side in line with your shoulder. Bring it forwards and down. Other side. Scapular push-up. Extend long. Arm travels out to the side and bring it back in and down. Good. So push up. Arm reaches forwards. Circles around to the side. Comes in and down. One more time on the other side. Reach, open, forwards and down. Okay, release the band. Take your hands down onto the floor and we'll just take a couple of tricep push-ups. So bending your elbows back in towards your rib cage as your spine, chest, forehead lower to the floor and then lifting up. So elbows in close to each other and press up. If you want a little more loading, you can take your knees further back into a knee plank or even into a full plank position if you felt really, really strong today. Let's take 3 more of these. 3 and 2 and last one. All right, and then press back into your rest position and just take a nice stretch. Coming back into our quadruped, I'm just going to have a little stretch for the back of our shoulders now. So taking one arm out to the side, lifting up towards the ceiling And then stretch that arm through, down to the floor. Try and lay the back of your shoulder down on the mat. Press the back of your hand down to feel that increase in stretch. And then opening up to the ceiling again. And stretch through and down underneath. And one more time on that side. Open. And stretch through and under. Okay, changing to the other side. We open out and stretch through and down. Good. And open and reach through and under. And one more time. Open. Stretch through and down. Okay, from there, lying face down on your mat. We take a nice diamond press, just finishing off our back work for today. So, shoulders drawn down using your lats, then gently pressing down into the floor with your arms and your hand to reach your sternum forwards, lifting your face, looking slightly in front of you, and then lowering down to the floor. Let everything relax and think about your low tummy just gently scooping in and up off the floor ever so slightly. Press down through your hands to lift up through your rib cage, through your neck and through your head, and lowering down. And again, we scoop and then float up off the floor and return nice and gently. Let's take 3 more times. Scooping to float and lift up. Gentle pressure down through your arms into the floor to help you get a little more lift. And down. We've got 2 to go. And the last one. And pressing down. Then back into our rest position. So pushing back with our arms. Scoop and round our spine. If it feels nice for you, you can try and bring your forehead all the way down to the floor. Take a couple of deep breaths there. And then circle your arms around beside you, palms facing the ceiling. And another couple of nice deep breaths here. And bringing your hands to the mat, slowly rolling yourself up. And there you go. We are done for today. How are you feeling? Feel good? We made it. I did the whole thing. Yay!